We're doing Marvel Cinematic Universe tier list today. So basically it's God tier, that's basically S, amazing, good, okay, meh, bad, horrible. So I don't believe there's actually anything that's horrible in MCU, but this has all the 20 something films leading to Phase 4 and the 3 TV shows in Disney Plus. So let's get started. First of all, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think it's a good film. Great end credit. Pretty forgettable villain. So I'll put it as good for now. The first Ant-Man I think is very underrated. I'll put Ant-Man and Wasp as okay. I'll put the first Ant-Man as good. Very underrated. I think Paul Rudd is absolutely brilliant as Scott Lang. And Michael Pena is hilarious in those films. So I'll put Ant-Man as good. Age of Ultron. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets, but I also understand why it gets that. There's good. There's also some things that Joss Whedon went overboard with. So I'll put Ultron as okay. Endgame straight up is God tier for me. I know people think it's cool to hate on Endgame now, but the culmination of 10 years, the saga, just the way it all ended, and to put everything together and deliver that ending, it's an achievement on its own. There's some absolutely iconic moments in that film. Cap lifting the hammer, I am Iron Man. It's just brilliant. Infinity War, God tier. I think Endgame's probably my favorite, but Infinity War is probably the best Avengers film there is. It's just Thanos is GOAT. Thanos is absolutely GOAT, and the snap couldn't have done it better. The impact it left on us for a whole year, it's not something you forget. I'm gonna say something controversial here. Next, Black Panther. I think Black Panther's overrated. I don't think it's a bad film, but I think it gets praised not for the film, but just for what it really stands for. If you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm glad it exists, but I don't think it's a $1 billion film. It made more than $1 billion. So, like I said, I don't think it's bad. I think it's just okay. Black Widow's same. I think it's okay. Natasha, I think, deserved a better farewell than she got in Endgame. So to get that standalone, I think it was a well-deserved farewell, but a little too late. I think it came out a little too late. I think it would have been perfect if it came out after Civil War, or maybe even after Infinity War, just not after Endgame. Civil War is God tier. It's basically another Avengers film, right? But the whole Captain America versus Iron Man, and it's so difficult because there are positives in both of their point of view, and I love when a film does that to you. Like, you can't really pick a side. Like, when you look at certain things that Cap does, it's questionable, and then when you look at certain thing that Tony's been through and he's just trying to make up for it, but at the end of the day, right, it's just a great film, and it brought Spiderman to MCU, so that's always gonna be God tier moment for me. The first Captain America is another massively underrated film in my opinion. It is such a good origin story. The whole A Man Out of Time done so well. I think Red Skull was so good, and yeah, I think it's a really good film. Not even gonna say nothing. Winter Soldier period best MCU film there is. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this film. It is perfection, and I will fight anyone for it. This film is it's so good. It's not even a superhero film, man. It's just a great film on its own. A spy espionage thriller. It brought us Bucky back as Winter Soldier. It brought us Falcon. It got us Steve and Natasha, and just everything about this film so good. The hand to hand combat. It got us Russo brothers, and yeah, this film's just goat, absolutely goat. Captain Marvel's another okay film. Like, it's like, let's just say they haven't done anything with Captain Marvel that's made me go, wow. The only time anything Captain Marvel related got me excited was the end credits for Infinity War when Sam Jackson sent that pager. But yeah, I hope the Marvels sequel is better. And Brie Larson is a great actress and she deserves better. Doctor Strange, I think, is a really good film. I think Benedict Cumberbatch captures the Sorcerer Supreme really well. It's also a good origin story, and I really like the whole Dormammu sequence, not gonna lie. And I'm also very excited for Baron Mordo. So it built up a universe and also established a hero. So it did its job. The first Guardians is god tier for me. I besides all the Avengers film, I think that's the one that I watched the most in theater. Absolutely the most fun film in the MCU. Chris Pratt's this rose him to stardom, and I'm also happy because I loved him in Parks and Rec. And the whole team, like, it's like bunch of misfits coming together. Rocket is great. Groot giving us that moment at the end. We are Groot, just iconic. Yondu is great. The Batista is brilliant in those films. So the first Guardians just god tier. Volume 2, I think it's okay. It's definitely a massive step down. Still captures the moment, but I think they tried to go bigger with Ego, and it's just the first one had certain magic and the second one didn't quite have it, but it's still a good film, good fun time. Iron Man 2. I think Iron Man 2 as a Iron Man 2 has some redeemable qualities. Black Widow is probably the top, but yeah, it's a very, let's just say, after the first Iron Man is a massive step down, and Whiplash was just a horrible villain. Now Iron Man 3 I'm gonna put as amazing. I know the whole Mandarin thing pissed off everyone, but if we do not focus on that, I think this is one of Robert Downey Jr.'s best performance as Tony Stark. And the whole, right, he's dealing with such human problems. I think this is Tony Stark's film and not an Iron Man film. So that, and I really love the film in general. Like, yes, the whole Mandarin thing was, but we're getting the real Mandarin now in Shang-Chi, so I guess that's gonna make people look at this film in a different way. But I really think it's a really good film. The first Iron Man is god tier for me. I don't think there's another better origin story than this, and yes, that includes all the DC films as well. I really love Batman Begins, but I think the first Iron Man is the best origin story for any superhero movies. It gave us Robert Downey Jr., and at that time we did not know what we were getting. We were getting God's greatest gift to mankind. And it started MCU, and this film is just a perfect introduction to this whole cinematic universe. Spider-Man Far From Home. I think Spider-Man Far From Home is a good film. The villains besides, the villain besides Mysterio, like as the Hydro Man and all those, I think they were okay. But I think Jake Gyllenhaal is so charming. So, and him as Mysterio, I really liked it. I also liked Peter struggling to deal with Tony's death. And I get it, people call him Iron Man Jr. and blah blah blah, but and he's still growing up as a hero, right? He's still getting used to being Spider-Man, so I think he'll find his own image eventually. But yeah, I think it's a good film. I'll put the first Spider-Man also as good film. It introduced what I really like, that it did not give us an origin story. Like when we meet Peter, he's already Spider-Man, because at this moment everybody knows how Peter becomes Spider-Man, so we did not really need another origin story. So I'm just glad they skipped through it. And Michael Keaton as Vulture, that's he can't go wrong with that. So I put both the Spider-Mans in good, and just hoping the third Spider-Man is god tier, especially if we get all three of them, all three Spider-Men. That is gonna be automatically god tier moment for me if we get all three Spider-Man. The First Avengers is god tier for me. This was the first time all of them came together. Absolutely lost my shit. I had never seen anything like that done ever before for comic book movies, for superhero movies. Like, I didn't think it was possible, and when it happened, it was so insane. I loved watching it every time. And over the time, I think people have forgotten how fun the First Avengers really is, right? Like, they're not really a team yet, but like the class, the egos, right? Captain America, Tony Stark, Thor, all of them going at each other. It's just so good. And Loki is so good. And when they all come together in that 360 at the end, it's just, yeah, it's easily god tier for me. I'm gonna skip on the TV shows for now and go with, now this is something, right? The Incredible Hulk. I think a lot of people look at this as the outside child, and I get it because it's Ed Norton. But if you really watch the film, I think it's a very enjoyable film. So I'll put it at good, because this is probably the most savage Hulk we've seen in MCU. And I love Ruffalo. I love Mark Ruffalo. I think his Hulk is great, but his Hulk has humbled down throughout the time, and this Hulk was just murderous. Like, he was a monster. And even the film, like, I really liked the struggles Bruce Banner is dealing with, right? Like, he doesn't want this thing, but he can't get rid of it, and he's on the run, and it's just a good story. And Abomination versus Hulk fight, I think is one of the great fights in MCU. The first Thor, I'm gonna put it at amazing. I absolutely love the first Thor. People overlook it a lot, and I think it's one of the most underrated films in the whole MCU. It's like, it's again one of the great origin story. Like, we got Thor, we got Loki, we got Hemsworth and Hiddleston. The chemistry, the banter, the back and forth, everything is so good. And it's a classic story, right? A hero who's so cocky and arrogant gets stripped from his power, since goes to Earth. He needs to be humbled down, learn his lesson, and then he gets his power back. And it's just a feel-good film. And yeah, I think it's a really good film. Ragnarok, I'm gonna put it as amazing as well. I think besides the Incredible Hulk, I think this is the best Hulk has been in MCU. Two strongest Avengers, no question, Hulk and Thor. Two of them together, the whole Gladiator sequence, the whole Planet Hulk tease, it's all great. And we got Valkyrie. Valkyries are, and I think Tessa Thompson is really good at that. And Ragnarok, and we got Surtur, Hela, Kate Blanchett as Hela, Death of Odin, Destruction of Asgard. This film's got it all, and fucking love Taika Waititi. I'm Korg. It's great. It's great. It's so fun to watch, and it's so funny as well. And I think Hemsworth's, this is the best he's been as Thor. Now, from too good, like, I think this is the only film I'm gonna put as meh, because Thor the Dark World, it is absolutely forgettable. It is absolutely forgettable. The whole Malekith and the Dark Elves were just bad villains, and Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth have no chemistry, and Jane Foster, I think, is just such a not interesting character. And I think the only good moment in this film are involving Loki. I think Loki's great in everything. Tom Hiddleston just owns this character, and their mother's death, I think that brings an emotional punch, but everything else is just very bland. So that's all the films. I've got 3 TV shows here. So I'll start with WandaVision. I think WandaVision is amazing. I had no idea what to expect when they first announced WandaVision. It looked like comedy, it looked like satire, but each episode revealed something that blew my mind, and it finally did justice to Scarlet Witch as a character. She is one of the strongest character in the whole Marvel verse, and we are finally getting to see that, and I am very excited to see what she does in Multiverse of Madness. Second is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is also a very good series. Those are the 2 characters that probably needed more screen time, Bucky and Sam. And post Avengers Endgame, dealing with the loss of Captain Rogers and dealing with their own battles, own demons, like Sam's fighting for, like, he's fighting, like, he was chosen by to be Captain America, right? And he's fighting to be worthy of it. He's questioning if he's worthy. And Bucky on the other side, he's battling his past demons and questioning again if he deserves to be forgiven. And the whole introduction of John Walker, I was very skeptical, but yeah, he won me over, and I absolutely loved that character by that time the series ended, and I cannot wait where they go with it. And Sam's Captain America, and they're doing Captain America 4 with him, and like I said, I'm very, very excited for the future of these characters. And Loki, I'm gonna put Loki as good as well. Like, I could put it as okay, but I'll leave it as good because of all the multiverse madness. But like I said, the other 2 series, they heavily developed the characters the show is on. Loki, I don't think did much to Loki as a character, but it did a lot for the Marvel Cinematic Universe with confirming multiverse that opens up so much potential, so many windows. It did open a lot of windows, I guess, and anything is game now, right? Like anything that we thought wasn't possible, they could do it. So it's basically a cheat code now. Like, you know, Marvel could pull off any random stuff and be like, hey, multiverse. Deadpool could show up tomorrow as Ryan Reynolds, and it's completely fair game. So yeah, Loki, I think as a series it was okay, but overall what he did for the Marvel universe, that's why I'm gonna put it in the good category. So there you have it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier, the first Guardians, the first Iron Man, and the first Avengers as God tier. Iron Man 3, the first Thor, Thor Ragnarok, and WandaVision as amazing. The first Ant-Man, Captain America, the first Avenger, Doctor Strange, Guardians Volume 2, Spiderman Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Incredible Hulk, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, all under the good category. Ant-Man and Wasp, Age of Ultron, Black Panther, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man 2 I put is okay. And the only film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe which I think is meh is Thor the Dark World. I don't think they have any bad or horrible films, so yet, and I hope they don't have it either. I really love this universe and can't wait for Shang-Chi and Eternals and Spider-Man, and I think Hawkeye comes this year too. So there you go, we got Shang-Chi, Eternals, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man No Way Home all coming this year, and I am very excited to see how that changes the universe. Let me know what you guys think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are your absolute favorites, or what films you think could have been better? Are you excited for the future of MCU? Leave it all down in the comment below, and as always, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.